In this video we're going to cover the fully diminished 7th chord and what all we can possibly think of to do with it. And exercises like this are great for creators of music. I have a similar video on the flat 7 flat 5 dominant where we run it through a bunch of different situations, but let's review the fully diminished 7th chord. It's basically the same set of notes no matter how you invert it, and you can only do this chord 3 times before it becomes the same repeated notes. It may be enharmonically spelled differently, but it's still the same 4 notes. However, an extremely versatile chord. Let's take the C sharp diminished 7th, regardless of inversion or enharmonic spelling. Let's just say the shape. Well, where can this occur? At first, let's look at it like this. In the key of C, this can occur as a secondary functioning chord. If I move it to G, it could still be the same secondary functioning chord, but to the dominant instead, to the D major. So any key that has a D or a D minor, this will work as a secondary functioning chord, G minor. So if you're in B flat, you could use the same chord to move to the 3 chord of B flat. So let's do something else here. Well, the same set of notes, if we look at our chart here, it could go to the D root and also the F root in the key of C as a secondary functioning chord. Same exact set of notes spelled different. Now I'm using the fully diminished 7th of the 5 chord. I just changed it a little bit just to do something that made sense. Let's use the same set of notes in G. It could go to that B minor. It could go to the 5 chord, which is D, and G major. So the 5 chord, the 3 chord. Now finish it out. The point is, the same set of notes can be used to tonicize a bunch of different chords in different keys. It can also be used as a form of chromatic modulation. If I start on a G minor, go to this same set of notes, we're just saying enharmonically the same. That can go to an F as a leading tone type chord. Same set of notes can go to a D major or a D minor. Same set of notes can go to a B major or minor. Same set of notes can go to an A flat, major or minor, etc., etc. Treating the same set of notes as a leading tone, there's 8 possible resolutions. If I use the 7 chord, same diminished chord, just on a different root, in G harmonic minor, I could use that as a basis of modulation to C minor. Okay, we could choose a different destination. Maybe instead stay in G minor and work towards the 5 of 5 in chromatic harmony. There's our diminished chord, 5 of 5. So even though I'm using F sharp fully diminished 7th, it's still the same things we're talking about. There's so many uses and destinations. So let's go back to C sharp diminished 7th. Here's something you should ask yourself. Where does this occur naturally? Harmonic minor and harmonic major as the 7th degree. And you're going to notice a lot of crossover here because that's the same thing as a secondary functioning chord, etc. Taking the same set of notes, you look at the leading tone. It's also the same set of notes of F harmonic minor and harmonic major, making the same set of notes enharmonically common to 8 different keys. Back to this. Harmonic minor, harmonic major. The point is to recognize these shapes in all kinds of different keys and situations. And the more you practice stuff like this, the more you're going to see it. And the more keys you have memorized, the more you're going to see this shape within those keys. Here's another place you can find it, within diminished scales. Built off of a half whole arrangement starting on C. I'll just write here where it occurs. The same set of notes. So this set of notes enharmonically can be put within the diminished scale, built off of C, half whole, or built off of any degree from this makeup of the diminished scale. For instance, on E, whole half would work. Let's take the same shape again. We'll do a diminished scale off of the G note. I'll just tap out the notes or part of the chord. So now we have two diminished scales this same shape of notes works with. On G, half whole. On C sharp, whole half, which would be the same as starting it on the C note. So you can do yourself a little diminished scale modal interchange if you want. Here's something else we could do with this shape. You add a tone, a major third down from it, you get a dominant flat 9 chord. This always works. And dominant flat 9s resolve almost exactly like the fully diminished 7th chords do, as secondary chords, substitution chords, or in-key chords, like harmonic major or harmonic minor. As a secondary function, in the key of C, the upper half of the A7 flat 9 is the fully diminished 7th chord, thus has the same effect. Let's switch to the key of G. That would become the 5 of 5 with a flat 9 alteration, using the same upper half of that fully diminished 7th chord, given a slightly more tense version towards that dominant chord. You can use it as a way to modulate from G minor. If I start with a G minor chord and go to the D minor instead, it still works. That flat 9 chord can always go to any form of D. So let's check something else out too. That same shape is responsible, same set of notes, for 4 different flat 9 chords. C, E flat, flat 9, F sharp, flat 9. Same set of notes above, that diminished shape, with a major third tone added below it. Here's a really easy trick to form flat 9 chords. Keep that same fully diminished shape above. A is the bass note, C is the bass note, E flat becomes the bass note, F sharp becomes the bass note. 4 different flat 9 chords. If you analyze the lowest notes, it outlines another diminished chord. Kind of interesting. Which leads to this topic. I can't play the full flat 9 chord with one hand, dominant flat 9, but notice something. All these flat 9 chords also fit the diminished scale. If we build it off C or anything that's half whole, like A half whole or C half whole, or E flat half whole, it's still the same scale, etc., etc. The point is you can create a dominant flat 9 chord within a diminished scale. And the upper half of a dominant flat 9 chord is a fully diminished 7th chord. So here's a practical use. Doing a typical 1, 5 of 5, 2, 5, 1. But the 5 of 2 will use a dominant flat 9. And that's where you can employ the diminished scale. So if you're writing something or trying to create a solo or whatever, it fits right over that chord. Because as we just saw, that A7 flat 9, the upper half is that fully diminished 7th chord, which works in the half whole arrangement of the diminished scale built off of either C, A, or E flat or F sharp. So the whole point of this video is when you take one certain chord and try to find every possible situation it might occur in that you know about, you'll find yourself even discovering things you never even thought of. And I want to say this is regardless of the style you're into. This is super helpful for composers and people who want to learn as much theory as possible to help them compose. Because you discover that this one shape has all kinds of options and directions you can go with it. You could make it sound classical, you could make it sound jazzy, you could make it sound like a part of a film score modulation, etc.